Among the many high-profile races we'll be following this year is the 2nd District Congressional race between Democrat Joyce Elliott, Republican Tim Griffin. It will be on the national radar screen, no doubt. We cover the Democratic primary closely, and with the general election matchup set, we turn our attention to the fall. Joining me to talk politics is 2nd District GOP nominee Tim Griffin. Tim, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Roby. Appreciate it.
You have released an internal poll this week showing you with a 50 to 34% lead over your opponent. I guess my first question to you is, do you really think that either one of you has this general election name identification to make a poll at this juncture a relevant poll?
Well, I think that polls are just snapshots. Obviously, things can change and will change as the election gets near. We understand that. I think that, look, this is going to be a tough race, and we know that Joyce is a accomplished, formidable opponent, and we're not taking anything for granted. We're working hard, but it's always good to take a look and just sort of see where you are, and that's what we were doing with this. And we are not taking anything for granted, as I say, but we feel really good about where we are at this point.
I appreciate you sharing your poll with us and the public right now. I like it how candidates will release those internal polls when they're good, maybe not so much when they're bad. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and make a commitment to me today that you're going to release all of your internal polling going forward. Can I count on that?
Well, I'm sure if there's anybody that I would release polling to, it would be my long college friend, Roby Brock.
I appreciate that. All right. You spoke to the Political Animals Club on Friday, and you actually criticized your former boss, George Bush, for spending too much, but you said Barack Obama's spending is even worse. It's kind of easy to Monday morning quarterback that thing now from where you're sitting, but Did you ever raise any objections or take a stand maybe against that spending pattern when you worked in the White House?
Well, that wasn't my area of focus when I was at the White House, and I'm sure if I would have raised that, people would have said, that's not your lane. But I think there's plenty of blame to go around for both parties and branches of government as well. We have absolutely got to rein in the spending and control the debt and the deficit. I'm very proud of my service in the Bush administration, but leading up the budget was unfortunately not part of my responsibilities. But the bottom line is we absolutely have no choice. I mean, we have to do something before we end up in a situation like we just saw with Greece in the last few weeks.
Also at the Political Animals Club on Friday, you announced that D.C. Morrison, the 3rd Democratic Senate candidate in this year's primary, a conservative Democrat, he endorsed you. He says he's going to be helping organize the Democrats for Griffin effort. What's he going to be doing for you exactly?
Well, we haven't talked about all the specifics yet. He has indicated a willingness to do whatever we need where we feel he can be helpful. And if you take a look at the support that he had, it was not insignificant, particularly outside Pulaski County. A lot of counties he got double-digit support in the Democrat primary, and so I want his help with anybody and everybody. I mean, independents and Republicans, and as well as Democrats. And I think that he will have a strong voice on a lot of issues that are important to Democrats, and I welcome his help. I welcome any Democrats who want to get involved with my campaign, independents as well, in addition to the Republicans. If folks think that we're going down the wrong road and we need to change, then come on, join our campaign.
Did you reach out to D.C. Morrison? Did D.C. Morrison reach out to you?
I reached out to him. It's interesting. I was on Army Reserve duty, I guess, last weekend, And so I was not in town for a conference that was held here, but I was told by a friend that he had picked up one of my yard signs. And I said, well, wow, that's great. I appreciate his support. And I decided to call him, and we met, talked, and we agree on a lot of issues, and I welcome his support.
I know both you and Joyce Elliott have said about this election that it's going to be an issue-focused election. I believe that. I think that your campaigns are going to act that way and do that. But let's be realistic. You've got plenty of campaign experience, so you know how these operations can sometimes work. These independent expenditure groups that are going to attack you and they're going to attack Joyce Elliott in this race, they're going to be very, very prevalent because the national Republicans and Democrats see this as a very pivotal seat to win. What kind of role do you think that these independent expenditure groups are going to play in shaping the outcome of this race?
I don't know. That's why they call them independent. I am going to stay focused, work hard to keep our campaign disciplined in talking about the issues that matter to voters here in the district. And you don't have to, I told some folks today, if you want to know what kind of campaign I'm going to run, I've only run one time in my life, and this is it. So if you want to know what a Tim Griffin campaign looks like, then go back to September when I got in this race and look at what I've done from September to the present. And I think what you will find is we have run an issue-based campaign. We have stayed away from the personal, and we have stayed focused on the specific issues that I hear people are concerned about in the 2nd District. I am absolutely committed to doing that regardless of what other people are doing, regardless of what other groups may do. Now certainly we will defend ourselves and set the record straight where appropriate, but we are staying focused on the issues. And I can't speak for the outside groups, not going to pretend to, but I will speak for our campaign, and we are going to stay on track. I'm going to do my very dead level best to keep focused on the issues.
I do know that when these attack ads do come, though, candidates can step up to the plate and ask that they be pulled down, demand that they be pulled down, or at least raise some objections to them.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
Whether it's attacking you or attacking your opponent, do you think that you will probably advocate in that way when you see some of these things coming, because you know they're going to come? Sure.
Well, I'm definitely not going to rule it out. I mean, it will obviously, we're talking hypothetical, so I have no idea what the ad will say, but certainly, if I see an ad that I think is offensive or inappropriate, then I certainly will express my distaste or objection to the ad. I have no problem doing that, and that would sort of be the natural. That's not something I have to give much thought to, because that would be my natural reaction. If there's an ad that I find distasteful, then I certainly would ask folks to pull it.
All right. I'm going to give you the last word here. I'm going to ask you to tell me why you're going to win in November. 60 seconds or less.
Well, I'll just tell you this. We're going to stay focused. We're going to work really hard. We're reaching out to voters outside the Republican Party, because we know that it's not about party. It's about beliefs and principles and changing the way Washington does business. I think folks are really interested in hearing just common sense solutions, and that's what we're going to stay focused on. Primarily, we want to help the private sector create jobs, and we want to cut spending so that we can eliminate the deficit and start reducing the debt. That will help us grow more jobs, and I think that message will be a winning message in November.
He is Tim Griffin. He is the Republican nominee for the 2nd Congressional District. Looking forward to more conversations as the campaign wears on, Tim. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Roby.
We're back with more right after this.